Hello everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Let's start with today's session. Today is day 11 and my goal was to complete writing practice from day 11 till 15, right? But I found this we have missed in our reading part. There was a live reading class conducted on our course, and I think it would be helpful to just give an hour more, and we should try to complete this live reading in first part, and then we will start the writing section in the next part of today and try to complete it by 15th. So let's move on.
On the real exam, that's what you're working with. You're working under clock pressure, under time pressure. And so in this live reading class, that's what we'll be doing, is working under that clock pressure. After we answer the choices, and if you have any questions, please feel free to question related to that passage. Okay. So as you know, very quickly, on the reading exam, the same as for the general and for the academic, there's certain questions that go in order. These are the different question types that go in order. They always go in order. That's the way that it works. Then you have some other question types that are mainly in order, but it's possible for them to sometimes, for one or two questions, to not go in order. But I would probably say the majority of the time these questions go in order. But for example, like with the summary question, if you have, for example, questions 4 and 5 in the same sentence, it's possible you might see the information for number 5 before you see the information for number 4. That's why I say it's mainly in order. And then you have question types that are not really about going in order: paragraph location, matching or classification questions, and questions where you have to pick 2 to 5 from a list or pick which items which are true. And then, of course, you have other types of questions, such as a headings question or a paragraph selection question. And that is not really about going in order, but it's about being able to decide on a proper heading or where something is located in a paragraph. IELTS reading is a testing of 3 concepts: identifying keywords, locating keywords, and understanding that language that will enable you to select the right answer choice. All right, so coming up next, we'll be going over our first passage analysis. Keep in mind there will be a running clock. You're going to see the passage on the left side and the questions on the right side. Please, one moment, I'm going to check for any questions that I might need to answer before we get started. The language that your answer choice will connect to. Find that language in the sentence and you will easily find the answer choice. All right, so on the left side, you see the reading passage there. On the right side, you see the 5 questions. You have 7 minutes to answer these 5 questions, and you can go ahead and start now. Okay, everybody, let's go ahead and go through the answer choices. And I apologize, I was supposed to give you the word limit. It was no more than 2 words. And so we'll go ahead and go through the answer choices now. All right. And so in terms of our answer choices, the answer choice for number 1 is full-time education. The answer choice for number 2 is officially stamped. The answer choice for number 3 is minimum fares. Number 4 is signature. And number 5 is anybody else. Full-time education, officially stamped, minimum fares, signature, and anybody else. So if we look at number 1, you find it in this paragraph where it says who can apply. It says, alternatively, if you are a mature student over this age, right, when it says over this age, you're talking about 25, but in full-time education, you can also apply. So to be able to apply over 25, you need to be involved in full-time education. For number 2, for mature full-time students, one of the photographs submitted must be signed and officially stamped. Officially stamped, and we see it right here in the next sentence. In order to prove your eligibility, you will need to get your head teacher, tutor, or head of the department to sign the application form as well as your photos, And then we have, after that language photos, we have the answer choice, needing to be officially stamped. Number 3 is minimum fares. We find it right here in this where it says using a rail car. And then 4 and 5 are in the last paragraph. I have a couple of questions. One moment, please. Okay, I'm going to ask a couple of questions. Answer a couple of questions. Number 1, if you don't have a question, please don't type it in the box. Like somebody's typing mine, we're all correct. That's fine, bravo, but please don't type that in the box. I keep trying to tell you, I just want the box for questions. Are the answers should be complete the same as examiners? Yeah, you have to have the same. You have to have the same responses. No, you can't just have stamped. You have to have officially stamped. Okay. I wrote stamped instead of officially stamped. You have to have officially stamped. You have to have anybody else. No, you cannot use others for question 5. You cannot use others for question 5. No, it cannot be minimum fare. It has to be minimum fares. You know, I get asked that question all the time. People ask me, it says minimum, the answer is minimum fares, can I write minimum fare? No, the answer is minimum fares. Right? They're not going to give the same credit for an answer that is wrong and an answer that is right. Right? The person that writes it correctly is going to get the full credit. Now, there are certain occasions and certain times. There are certain occasions and certain times where an answer can be singular and plural. The only time that happens, and it rarely happens, is when the grammatical structure of the question allows for an answer choice to be singular or plural, and that happens sometimes when the language in the passage is differently structured than the language of the question, and so sometimes that can be fine. All right, that can be fine. Later on, I'll confirm about the officially stamped. I'll double check, but I have to double check again. But you should have as your answer choice officially stamped. And somebody has a question about number 3. Yeah, I said in the very beginning that I forgot to put the minimum there, right? The maximum. You put the maximum, not the minimum. The max. You never put the minimum. It always says 2 words. It gives you the maximum. So what people are asking me are not problems with the maximum. You put just stamped. Now maybe if they say 2 words, you would put officially stamped. That's fine. I understand that. Okay, I understand that. All right. Let me answer question number 3, and then I'm going to move on. Question 3 is right here. At certain times of the year, there are no minimum fares. Right. So here it says you can use it anywhere, anytime, bank holidays. But if you travel 10 a.m. Monday, so we're doing number 3, right? There are no minimum fares. Yeah. But if you travel before 10 a.m. Monday to Friday, certain times of the year, except during July and August, minimum fares will apply. So you have to be able to get from the context of that sentence, that at certain times of the year, right? At certain times of the year, if they tell you that at these times of the year minimum fares apply, then that means that when it's not one of those times of the year, then minimum fares don't apply. Do you understand? Right? They're telling you have to pay a minimum fare on these dates and these times. So if it's not those dates and times, then minimum fares don't apply. There's certain times of the year when they don't apply. One more time, the answer has to be exactly as in the passage. Okay, the answer has to be exactly how in the passage. You can't have a different answer, and you cannot have a synonym answer. You can't. I'm sorry. Okay. Is anyone else having a hearing problem, or can you hear what I'm saying? Okay, good. So whoever's having a hearing problem, then you want to go ahead. This next one is a true, false, and not given question. The true, false, not given questions go in order. You want to locate the keywords in the question, start with the easiest to locate first, find a match in the passage, and then apply the rules. True must be 100% true. It cannot be partially true. You do not make inferences. When something is false, that means that the information is contradicted, or it says the opposite. When something is not given, that means that information from the question is missing in the passage. You are comparing the question to the passage, not the passage to the question. All right. So here are our 6 questions. And here we have the passage to the left. You have 8 minutes to answer these 6 questions. One of those rules was that you should only type questions in the chat box. And the chat box is only reserved for questions. Another one of those rules was to not write answers in the chat box because that is disrespecting the process of other students that are trying to answer the questions. No one asked you to put answers in the chat box. You're not going to get any reward or any kind of prize for being the first person. I'm not going to check your individual answers inside the chat. You are robbing them of their IDs. Please, please, please write answers. Okay, let's. All right, number one is true. Number one is true because they said it is included in the price. Included in the price. Number two is not given. They tell us how to get a storage unit, but it is silent as to if we can share one. Number three, the answer is false. Number three, the answer is false. Number three is false. The passage says that there is 24-hour access, which contradicts the question. Right? The question says that you can only, like when you're doing a true, false, not given question, and you see the word only in a question, that should really jump out to you, because very often that word only is used to make something to be false, right? Or to maybe, but it's a very important word that should jump out to you. So here it says only during the nighttime, but in the passage it says 24-hour access, so that means that contradicts it. And so one thing you have to do, and that's why I told academic students that even though my focus is on general passages, a lot of it is at the same difficulty level, but also it's an opportunity for you to work on strategy, because a lot of people put not given, and they say, well, I don't know, I don't see anything. And you have to, when you see a contradiction, you put false. You can't look at that and say, well, I don't see where it says anything about, only night. I don't know. It's contradicted information. Number four is true. Number four is true. Park cars and lorries equals drive the vehicle immediately outside their units right next to. So number four is true. Number five is false. Right? It says students' possessions can only be stored during vacation. Right? Number four, only be stored during vacation. This is false because it's not only during vacation, but also to find a place to stay. So that represents a what? Contradiction. Contradiction. Somebody asked me a question about number two. I'll come back to it. Okay, just be patient with me, please. I'll come back to it. Number six is not given. Right? We don't know if the companies are better than doing it yourself. We don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they are not. We don't know. It is. We don't know. For question number two, somebody's asked me about question number two. Where do you see it? I'm sorry for I don't know your name. It looks like your name is in Chinese characters. I don't know your name, but where do you? It doesn't say anywhere that you can share it with your family. Where are you reading that? It doesn't say that anywhere. You can't make stuff up, everybody. No, household storage just means things from your house. It doesn't mean things with people in the house. No. Okay, household storage just means like your things in the house. It doesn't mean for people living in the house, all the people in the house. That's not what it means. Okay. I will elaborate on question number five. For question number five, for number five and number six. Okay. All right. So everybody, so we don't have multiple questions on the same thing. I will address question five, and then I will address question six. Okay. For question five, it says students' possessions can only be stored during vacation. Can only be stored during vacation. Right? Can only be stored during vacation. So for this to be true, the sentence in the passage must say that it can only be done during vacation for it to be true. For it to be not missing, that means that when you look at the passage, it doesn't say anything. It gives no information about that. It's silent. It gives no information about when you can store possessions. It's completely silent. That's the only way to be not given. The answer is false because the question says only stored during vacation. But when you look in the passage, it says you may want to store all of your books of personal. It says, you may be willing to, you may be traveling or going home to see family and friends in the vacation, or need time to find a place to stay. So it could be for vacation or need a time place to stay. Need time to find a place to stay. So it is not only for vacation periods. We have a contradiction, right? We have a contradiction. All right, now for number six, it says when it comes to collecting and delivering students' property, in-town vehicle operated hire companies are better than doing it yourself. Again, you're responsible for organizing transport.
So now the strategy should be like, that's what I use now. Skim through the passage, read the question, and because it is in sequence, go to that keywords that we find and read that statement very carefully. Like, although we have skimmed it through, read the question carefully, read the question, statement related to that carefully, and then match it. If it is using synonyms and same looking words, that means like the meaning is same, that is true. If it is contradicting the statement, it is false and not given in the sense, that is out of context. Like what is mentioned in the statement and what is told in the question is two different things, then it is not given.
But we also recommend local van and driver hire companies.
And one more thing that I learned here is, because not givens are tricky, so always see which paragraph it may be included. So say my question one is in here, like heavy duty locks are provided, and it ends here. You can hire the unit and storage. For a period of time for storage required is sound and secure environment and blah blah blah. Now after that, the question 3 is picking up at night time, that is with 24-hour access. So for second one, it should be somewhere here from this line to with 24-hour access. If there is nothing that matches with what it is saying in this question, that means it is not given. You can hire the unit with the storage capacity you need for a period of time that storage is required in sound and service location and all that. Sometimes that not given questions like this, right? It's arrange share, so I can skim through complete paragraph for it, but I know it may not be anywhere else rather than these two lines. So rather than wasting my time, that's what I did.
It does not mean it's not, no, it's recommending something does not mean it's better. Recommending something means that this is just an option. This is another option, right? But we can also recommend. That means that we can also make a recommendation. It doesn't mean it's better. It doesn't mean it's better than what you're going. You're making an inference, right? Again, don't make an inference. Do not make an inference. We don't know if it's better. We don't know, right? You can't. It doesn't say they're better. For it to be true, it has to be. For it to be true, it has to say that. For it to be true, it has to say they're better. For it to be false, it has to say they're not better. It has to clearly say it, not making inferences. Please stop doing that. Question. For the general exam and the academic exam, you have a headings question. This question appears on both. This question appears on both. And so let's go ahead and move forward to it. Headings question. On the left, you can see the reading passage. On the right, you can see the headings, and we're doing paragraph A, B, D, F, and G. You have 7 minutes to complete the process. Okay, I will now be going over the answer choices. Paragraph A is choice number 9, IX. Paragraph B is choice number 6, VI. Paragraph D is choice number 2. Paragraph F is choice number 7. Yeah, number 7. And paragraph G is choice number 3. Choice number 3, right? Also in the green below the paragraph, what I have in green, that is the explanation for the answer choice. So now we'll go and check any questions that people may have. Turn off your cam, please. If some people have on their camera, let me see what we're talking about. Shiv, Shaya, I'll stop the video. All right, Shiv, Shaya, turn off your video, please. All right, can you please explain paragraph B? Okay, paragraph B. I will do my best. If you look at the first 2 sentences of paragraph B, well, first of all, KS, what did you choose as an answer choice, KS? You chose 6. You chose 10, the consequences for agriculture. Paragraph B, it says agriculture consumes about 70% of the world's fresh water, right? It consumes 70% of the world's fresh water, so improvements in irrigation can make the greatest impact. So when you look at this first sentence, the first sentence tells us that this paragraph is going to talk about consumption, massive consumption of fresh water. And it's talking about the massive consumption of fresh water directly connected to agriculture, right? Directly connected to agriculture. And so, that's what we're getting, agriculture is the sector. And using 70% of the water is, that's a very thirsty sector. And so that's why that is our answer choice. You can't use, remember everybody, the answer choice must connect to the information in the topic sentence, right? If this paragraph were about successful measures, you would see that in the topic sentence, right? You would see that in the topic sentence, okay? You would see that in the topic sentence. So, when you're finding an answer choice, it must be in the topic sentence. So, that's what this whole, from the first 2 sentences, that's what the whole thing is about. All right. If you don't see it there, it's not about just matching up 1 or 2 words and saying, well, this consequence means the same as greatest impact. What is this paragraph about? Right? What is this paragraph about? This paragraph is about the agricultural sector consuming a lot of water. That's what it's about. Okay. You got to be able to see that. All right. Let's see. Somebody wants me to explain paragraph F. All right, everybody. What I'm going to ask, please hold on. What I'm going to ask, if one person says they want me to read paragraph F, I don't want like 4 more people saying do paragraph F. I'm going to get to it. Okay, I'm going to get to it, everybody. But please be patient. Because that's not it can't be 10. It can't be 10 because it's not about the consequences for agriculture, right? That's not what it's saying in the topic sentence. See, that's the problem a lot of times when students read too much, right? The main idea of this paragraph is not about consequences for agriculture. The topic sentence tells us that it's about the agricultural sector consuming too much water. That's what the paragraph is about. All right, F, ways of reducing waste. All right, so it says another way of conserving water resources involves better management of the environment. So we're talking about another way of conserving water resources, right? We're conserving water resources. So when you look at this first sentence, you can get from the first sentence that this paragraph is going to be about a different way to be able to conserve water resources, right? Whenever you're talking about conserving water resources, you're talking about what? Reducing waste. And it says another way, they're mentioning another way of doing that, right? Yes, well, I don't understand. You all taking a live class and you haven't watched my lectures. I tell you all, I teach this over and over and over again, that with the headings question, you look at the first 2 sentences, right? And you have to be able to, because what you're looking for is the controlling idea, right? If you know how to write an essay, then what do you do with the first sentence of a body paragraph? You have a controlling idea, right? In the first sentence, you state, what is the controlling idea of the entire paragraph? That is paragraph writing 101, okay? No, okay, you don't get this. Shalaka, no, not Shalaka, who is this? I'm gonna repeat this one more time. Namish. The answer choice is located in the first 2 sentences. It cannot be, an answer choice cannot be about, I think you're saying choice 8. Yeah, it can't be that, because if you look at the first sentence, they're not talking about the interdependence of natural resources. This is what happens when you all read too much. You read too much, and then you lose focus of what you're supposed to be doing. Topic sentences control ideas. Please remember that. Choice A, it says per capita water usage has been on an upward trend for many years. As countries industrialize and their citizens become more prosperous, the individual water usage increases. So from those first 2 sentences, it tells us that people have been using more and more water every year. And then in the second sentence, they're telling us this is because countries become industrialized, enriched, and use more water, right? So this is dealing directly with development, the demands of development, okay? when it's talking about industrialized countries and their citizens becoming more prosperous, and that being the reason that water usage is increasing, right? The first sentence tells you that water usage is increasing every year. The second sentence tells you the reason why. And then the rest of the whole paragraph is just giving details of explaining it with details, right? If you ever want to know how to write a body paragraph, look at a headings question. They do the same thing every single time. First two sentences explain the main idea, and then everything else is just supporting details. A supporting detail cannot be a heading. So when some of you are asking me about these little factual things and supporting details, that can't be a heading, okay? That can't be a heading. All right, so I want to be able to move on. G. Okay, G. What the future holds. So again, look at the first two sentences. Global warming is bound to affect rainfall patterns. So it says what? When it says bound to affect, right? They're talking about what it will do, right? They're giving us a clue, what it will do. Though there is considerable disagreement about its precise effects. But it's likely that as sea levels rise, again, it's likely that we're talking about what? The future, right? So we're talking about, but when you look at these first two sentences, and these first two sentences are directly connected, especially here because you see the word but, right? But when you look at these first two sentences, what is the main idea they're talking about? See, this is what makes the headings question difficult. And the reason why the headings question is one of the most difficult questions to do is not because the strategy is difficult to understand. The headings question has the easiest strategy, but the highest degree of difficulty to apply it. Why is that? The reason is because when students don't have the requisite English level to be able to understand context and to be able to pull out and read, understand, pull out main ideas or controlling ideas. If you can't pull out controlling ideas or main ideas, then a headings question is going to be difficult. That's what you have to do. So a lot of you, when you are doing this question, it's not about you just saying looking for words and looking for some words that I see some words for. What you're doing is pulling out the main idea, right? You're pulling out the main idea. That's what you're doing here. All right. Juan, this is a general question, and it's from passage 3 for the general exam. It's from passage 3 from the general exam. All this is from the general exam, and that's why I told you some of the stuff, especially passage 3. Passage 3 on the general exam is at the exact same difficulty level as the academic exam. Okay. Farzana, I'm going to say this one more time. You pointing out to me little bitty details from supporting detailed sentences, that is not a controlling main idea. This is paragraph. You have to understand paragraphs 101. You can't look at the last line of paragraph G and look at something they say in the last line of paragraph G and then say, hey, that's the main idea of the whole paragraph. That's not how paragraph writing works. The main idea is going to be in the first two sentences of a paragraph. That's one reason why I tell people, you don't hear me a lot of times say read the last sentence. I tell people do it if you want to get more context. If you want to get more context, I tell people do that. But I also tell people, when you look at those last sentences and things like that, very often it leads you to pick wrong answers because you'll try to base an answer choice on what they say in the last sentence. And you can't do that. You cannot do that. You cannot, have that as a strategy. Okay. All right. I would like to move on because if I don't move on, I'm not going to cover everything or get to the other questions. But I hope that you have a deeper understanding about how to really handle a headings question. And I'm not trying to berate everybody. I'm not trying to be difficult, but I'm just trying to get you to understand strategy because a lot of students are getting things wrong because they don't know what to do. And the reason why you take this course is because you want me to tell you what you have to do so that you know what skills you need to get better at doing. So after this discussion, you should understand, well, the skill I need to get better at doing is being able to look at the first two sentences and understand how to identify a controlling or main idea. That's what I'm trying to do. All right, let's go forward. All right, we're looking at a summary question.
So here is the note about the speaker last time in the last section. He said that to go through the first two lines of the paragraph to give the headings. That is predominantly true, but I think my strategy would be to skim through the complete paragraph and focus more on first 2 to 3 lines because where the sector's thirsty, right? So if you have not read the complete paragraph, you will say it is agriculture for sure. Because thirsty, you cannot directly just use one word to assign like the heading for that paragraph. But I read the complete paragraph. That's how I got that answer right. And in the half of the paragraph was talking about other industries like aluminium and other stuff, right? So then I got to know that it may be with industries and thirsty, right? So it is using more water, not only agriculture. So I was in doubt, but then it was pretty clear. So we have to combine both the strategies like skimming through the paragraph as well as reading in depth, matching it with the headings for first 2 lines.
Like I told you in the very beginning, for a summary question, Most of the time it goes in order, but it's possible for it to not go in order. All right, so here's our paragraph. And you have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to fill in the blanks of the summary question, right? I have the directions there. Choose one word only. Okay, let's go over the answer choices. Before I do that, I wanted to, somebody asked me a question from passage number 1 that we did, whether the answer can just be stamped or does it have to be officially stamped? For that question, if you just had stamped as your answer choice, that would be acceptable. That would be acceptable. The reason why is because the word officially is more of a functional word. So it's just, you just needed to have the word stamped there. You didn't have to have officially. So you could have had officially stamped or you could have had just stamped and that would have been acceptable. Every other answer choice had to be exactly how I stated it, right? So it had to say you had to have anybody else. You cannot just have anybody. If you just had anybody and you put that on the exam, you would be marked as giving an incorrect answer. Okay, so that's taken care of. Let me go ahead and move forward. All right, so we find these answer choices in the last paragraph, right? We find it in the last paragraph. And for number 38, the answer is tundra. For number 39, the answer is insects. And for number 40, the answer is predators. Now, you'll notice that this one gives you the situation that I mentioned before, where we find the answer, where the answers are found in reverse in the reading passage, right? In the question, insects comes before predators, but in the reading passage, predators comes before insects. And this is why you hear me say the summary question mainly goes in order, because sometimes if you have questions that are answer choices that are in the same sentence or back-to-back sentences, you can find them in the reverse order, especially when it comes to doing the summary, because when you're summarizing, you don't necessarily put things in the same order as they are in the actual passage because you are, quote, summarizing. All right, so I think that one's really straightforward. Tundra, insects, and predators. All right, no questions? Great. I'll go ahead and move on. To the next one. All right, now we're doing a paragraph or a section location question. A section location question. And before I do that, I want to back up for a second. Please bear with me. I want to back up for a second because I want to say something. I want to say something to the academic students that are in the course. One thing you'll notice in terms of the difference between the headings question on the academic exam and the headings question on the general exam is that most of the time on the academic exam, the heading is longer. The heading is longer in terms of the amount of words, right? There are more words a lot of times in the headings on the academic exam. On the general exam, what they're doing is just giving the core controlling idea. The core control, they're not putting any surrounding words around economic pricing. And so I mentioned this to you because as an academic student, you can learn something from this. When you are an academic student, they're giving you 5 and 6 words around economic pricing. What you should be trying to do is look at the core word or words of that heading and focusing on that, right? Focusing on that, because that's the difference between these two. But that's why I said, as an academic student, you can actually learn something from the process. Focus on the core words, and that's what you're finding in terms of for the main idea. All right. So paragraph, section, location question. Hold on. Hostile in question 30. I don't know what you mean, Rashida. Rashida, are you asking me if the answer is hostile? I don't understand, Rashida. 39 is insects. If you look before the blank line, it says plentiful supply. Plentiful supply. So when I'm looking for an answer choice, all I'm really doing, to be honest with you, is I'm looking for the synonym or paraphrase match of plentiful supply, right? And when you look at it, it says, and the abundance. The word abundance is a synonym or paraphrase of saying plentiful supply. That means whatever word is connected to abundance must be my answer choice. I don't need you to understand all the sentence. Who cares? Who cares about the emerge during the brief but intensive arc? None of that matters. You don't need to understand all that. It doesn't matter. Find the language that's before the blank line and you will find your answer choice. Sometimes it's the language before the blank line. Sometimes it's the language after the blank line. Okay. So we're doing a paragraph location or a section location question. Right? So for which app are the following statements true? Write the correct letter A through D in the boxes A through 14. You may use any letter more than once. So you're looking at question 8 and you are deciding, is the information for question 8, is question 8 located in A, B, C, D? Which one is it located in? Right, this is a section location question, and the academic exam is referred to as a paragraph location question, but the principle and the strategy is the same. All right, time's up. Before I give the answers, I have a quick question. Does anyone know the difference, or what is the difference between a section, paragraph, location question and a headings question? Does anyone know the difference? Because if you know the difference, then you truly understand these two question types. If you know the difference, feel free to try to explain it in the chat box. If you don't know the difference, then I'll be happy to explain the difference. But I'll give you, well, somebody has an answer already. Let's see. You all have it right about the paragraph location. Yeah, most of you are giving me half answers. Why don't you put your answers together? The headings question is this. The section question is this. All right, so I'm going to answer the question. Okay. A headings question. All right, when you write a body paragraph, you're writing in an essay. You're writing a topic sentence that expresses within the first two sentences of a paragraph that expresses the controlling idea of the entire paragraph. And then after you express that controlling idea in the first sentence or the first two sentences, after that, you're expressing details or supporting details for that topic sentence. And so understanding paragraph structure explains to you the difference between a headings question and a paragraph location or section location question. The headings question is about the student's ability to be able to understand the main idea or the controlling idea of the entire paragraph. The section location or paragraph location question is about the student's ability to identify and locate specific details in the paragraph. That is the difference. So when we're doing this section location question, paragraph location question, when we're doing it, we're looking for where specific details are located. When we're doing a headings question, we are working our best to try to identify what is the main controlling idea. That's the difference. Okay, that's the difference. So the answer choices are number 8 is C, number 9 is D, number 10 is D, number 11 is A, number 12 is B, number 13 is C, and number 14 is A. Saharsh, I don't understand what you're asking me. Which question are you talking about? You guys can't just throw in a bunch of language and expect me to know the question you're talking about. Number 10, this app has well-presented visuals. Right? So here in paragraph D, you see it says it has a nicely designed map view. A nicely designed map view is a paraphrasing of well-presented visuals. That's why that answer choice is located in D. Um, 11 should be B. Why is it A? I don't. You're gonna tell me the answer should be this. This is the answer. You're wrong. Look. It says it's totally free. Look at what it says. Pacer's developer now generally includes all the features in one free app. It can't be B because when you look at the last sentence, it says the app has in-app purchases. Right? The answer should be B. Why is it A? It should be B. Why is it A? No, the answer is A. Question 8. Farzana. Okay, so Farzana, so number 8. Let me look at number 8. Number 8, it says this app can be used by more than one sport. For number 8, when you look at it, where's number 8? Number 8 is in paragraph C. It says if you're ever not sure where to run or cycle, run is a sport, cycling is a sport, two sports. Where do you see that it can be used for two sports in D? Voice coaching is not a sport. Those aren't sports, Farzana. I don't know what you're talking about, Farzana. Those are not the names of sports. Cycle is a sport. Running is a sport. Is the Impale app free? See the second line, please. As smartphone fitness tools go, is one of the best, allowing you to track. It's not free. All of that comes free of charge, while the premium version adds even more tools. It's not free. It's not free, everybody. I'm sorry. It's not free. Okay. All right. So if there are no other questions, 13. You can get ideas about where to go from other people on this. 13. No, it doesn't say that. Just because it says you can add possible roots, that does not say you can get information about this from other people, right? It says, again, you're trying to infer an answer, Saksham. You are trying to infer an answer. What the paragraph C directly says it. It says you can find user-created routes on the map, right? If you can find user-created routes on the map or share your own, you're getting ideas about where to go from other people, right? That is a paraphrasing of that language. That's a paraphrasing of that language, okay? What you're doing is trying to infer something, and it's not a logical infer. There's nothing to support what you're saying, right? There's nothing to support what you're saying. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Multiple choice, questions go in order. You locate the keywords in the questions. You start with the easiest to locate first. You locate the first match in the passage. Keep in mind, a multiple choice question can be a combination of two sentences in the passage. That is a possibility. All right, so here we have the questions. We have the passage to the left. You have 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go over the answer choices. Number 28. Number 28 is B. Number 29 is D. Number 30 is B. Number 31 is C. And number 32 is C. 28 is B. 29 is D. 30 is B. 31 is C. And 32 is C. You can probably, I'm answering somebody's question. Somebody asked me, can general reading passages be used as practice material for the academic? You probably have heard me say, if you have not heard me say this, I say it many, many times, that I've said this many times, that especially reading passage 3 for the general exam is at the exact same difficulty level as the academic exam. Also, the general exam, sometimes if you're, when someone, for example, sometimes when I have somebody who's new to the IELTS exam, like they're brand new to the IELTS exam, if I have somebody like with a general reading passage, like if we're doing yes, no, not given questions, because there's more about understanding how to apply the strategy, each strategy. So I've done that different times for different reasons. Number 30. Number 30 is right here. Yeah, somebody already answered number 30. Okay, so one moment, please. Number 30. Let's see, Florence is a good drug detector. Florence is a good drug detector because. So it turns out that it's not Florence's nose that makes her a top drug dog, right? So a top drug dog is a dog that's finding drugs. A top drug dog. A dog is finding. So it's not the nose. So when they say it's not the nose, and then they say but her, now they're telling you the answer. But her unswerving concentration, right? So what does unswerving concentration mean? Because they tell you directly that's the reason why. It is a paraphrasing. It's about, especially multiple choice questions, is about your ability to be able to recognize paraphrased language. Again, let this be a lesson for you if you're having trouble answering questions, for example, on multiple choice questions in section 3 of the listening test. The listening test is the same for academic in general. When you're doing multiple choice questions, it's the same thing. So instead of you reading the information, they're speaking the information. They're speaking the information. Instead of reading the information, they're speaking the information. So on the listening test, you would hear them say, it's not her nose that make her the top dog, but her unswerving concentration. You're supposed to be able to first hear the keywords, make her a top drug dog, because that matches the question language. And then right after that, they say the answer choice. And then you have to be able to pick the paraphrase. You do that in the reading. You do that on the listening exam. It's the same process, right? It's the same process. 31. Dogs like Florence may help scientists. How do they help scientists? Florence can help. Florence can help. Neurobiologist is a scientist. So now we know we're in the answer choice. What can she help with? Right? What can she help with? They're going to help neurobiologists to understand both what they call attention processing, right? Determine what a person pays attention to and for how long they pay attention, and problems such as attention deficit. So it's all about, she's helping with people being able to pay attention. Attention. 31 is C. Because it's not about how they use both sides of their brain. That's not what it's about. It says Florence can help scientists understand both what they call attention processing, right? And this afterwards, after attention processing, they're defining it. The brain mechanism that determines what a person pays attention to. She's helping them with attention issues, right? She's not helping them with understanding the brain. That's not what it says. 31. In 1993, the Australian customs. It says right here, Australia. In this first sentence, it says Australian customs, right? That's like a starting point. That's a starting point. And then after that, we see it, but in 1993. And then that's why what I said earlier, it can be more than one sentence. But in 1993, fed up with poor success rate of finding good dogs this way, John Vanderloo, senior instructor with the director dog unit, joined forces with Keith, then a doctoral student, and set up a breeding program. So it says here, the guy was fed up, right? He was tired of the dogs having a really poor success rate. And so as a result, he changed and set up a breeding program. He was tired of their failures and decided to set up a new program. What answer choice does that fit, right? It's a paraphrase of choice C, right? Again, that's what you're doing. It's a paraphrase of choice C. You have to be able to find the paraphrase. 29. Most dogs are not good. Most dogs are not good at finding drugs. Not good at finding drugs. It says ordinary dogs, most dogs, have a 0.1%, that's bad, 0.1%, not good, chance of making it in drug detection, right? In drug detection. And so you're asking, what answer did you put for 29? C. Where the drugs are usually well hidden. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but when they talk about ordinary dogs having a 0.1 chance, right? You're talking about they don't really have the ability to do it, right? If you look at these two sentences together, like I told you, sometimes it can be two sentences. Florence is one of a truly new breed, genetics, the product of what is perhaps the only project in the world dedicated to breeding genetics Dogs solely detected for drugs. Bred to detect drugs. Again, we're talking about genetic qualities. Ordinary dogs have a 0.1% not good chance of making it in drug detection or finding drugs. Okay, they don't have the qualities. All right, so yeah, I'm happy that you understand. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you have a deeper understanding.
Okay, so today I was able to uh, I achieved 100% success record in all the question and answers, and I'm happy about that. I can skim through the passage and understand it. Sometimes it is really difficult. Yesterday it was worst, but yeah, mostly I'm able to comprehend the what that paragraph means, and then once the skimming is done, it is really easy for me to find the keywords and then stick to that line and interpret the meaning and then answer, right? So 2 3 steps that I'm trying to follow, and I'm thinking maybe because I can do it within time limit, and we have 60 minutes for answering the questions, so I think I can do that pretty much easily. So let's join in the part 2, where we will start for writing practice. At least some ground we should be covering today for writing preparation, and let's see you later. Thank you.